Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is another edition of our weekly real estate backstory. We do this every Monday morning, normally at 9, but sometimes at 8:30, like we're teaching this morning. So we're starting a little bit early. And so my name is Alan Rich. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realty Group Partners. My lovely bride.
My name is Wayne Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And my partner.
Yes.
So, this is, we are at the last day of July. August starts tomorrow. And guess what else? Back to school. So, I mean, like, not that I don't love spending summers with my children, but I'm pretty glad that they're going back to school.
Well, it's a routine.
Yeah,
so.
but for a lot of us, I bring it up tongue in cheek, but largely because this is a good time for us also to get back to work, get back to what we need to be doing.
There's no video, just so you know.
Yes,
there it is.
is.
Okay. Looking at the screen. Oopsie.
Yeah. So obviously we're not in our normal office, but but we need to get back into our routines too. So like what's your schedule look like? Are you treating your business like a business? So, but getting back to school can also be a good chance for us to kind of revisit where we've been, what we're doing, what does our routines look like?
Business planning.
Like for us, we've been making sure our kids are going back to bed at a decent time, trying to get ready. These are all really good things, for adults too, to really be looking at doing. And so making sure that we've got all of our business acumen set up to
be successful.
Yeah, exactly. So now there was also a recent study I wanted to share with you. It said that 90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business.
I know I do, especially when I'm traveling out of state. Where's a good place to eat?
Yeah.
What's a city attraction?
And almost 90%, 88% also trust reviews as much as they do a personal recommendation. That is massive. This is something that's kind of, we've seen this evolving, ever since really Amazon. When Amazon started posting reviews for all the things, we've seen online reviews and the importance of those online reviews becoming so much more important. And so, 31% of consumers are more likely to spend business with excellent reviews. 72% say they trust businesses with positive reviews. So 72% will take action after reading a positive review, and a single negative review can cost you about 30 customers. So our online reviews are really, really important. But I keep finding agents and they don't have any kind of reviews. And not only do they have reviews, even their entire online presence is jacked up. And so please take a moment and go out and Google yourself. First name, last name, plus real estate. It's very, very important you do this, because guess who else is going to do this?
Your clients.
Your clients, yeah. And then where are you keeping those reviews? Right, you want to make sure that everywhere where you were listed, you've got a face, you've got a profile, people can see you, understand what kind of business you do, and then where are you keeping those reviews?
And those data, your personal profile and pictures should be updated. And I'm guilty of this sometimes. My email signature is probably about 15 years old. So the picture, what I meant. So try to update your picture so people
catfish
can see
a house in a real But now, personally, we recommend that you keep your online reviews on Google My Business. And if you haven't set up your Google My Business, you absolutely need to. It's a very strong platform for it. You can't take reviews away, so you do have to manage your reviews on there. It's not like something where you post them yourself, but people trust them. And so that carries a whole lot of weight.
Absolutely.
As far as that goes. So please look at your reviews, look at what you're doing to manage them, and try and help build that piece of your business. Because the whole 88% of folks trust online reviews as much as they do a personal recommendation. We all live off recommendations. We live off referrals. And this is a piece of that referral business now. All right, so some new numbers came out, real GDP growth. We had a really strong second quarter of 2023 where we had positive GDP growth. We're still not looking at any kind of recession or anything like that, even though the Fed seems to be kind of trying, I'm not gonna say they're trying to push us into it, but they raised the Federal Reserve rate one more time.
And I don't recall when's the last time they constantly raised it. Other than when back in 2000, early 2000, when the
Two
interest
thousand
rate
one is the last
was
time it was this high.
11%. I know my first home, I bought it at 11%.
Well, but the federal funds rate does not directly equate to interest rates. Now, we even saw that this past week, because on one hand, yes, the Fed's raised the federal funds rate by a quarter point. And interest rates did go up enough to say that they went up, but they went up 0.03%. And that's after they dropped almost a quarter the week before. So, we're going to keep seeing interest rates starting to ease back up because the market is inflation is coming down and things like that. Yeah. So, but we recently got a question just this past week for what kind of credit score do you need to buy a house? And this was an open discussion with a bunch of realtors, and they're like, well, I really want like 780s and things like that. But like what are the credit scores? So we just wanted to share with you, right? Anything 780 and less, that's considered poor. And poor score.
No. 579.
I'm sorry, 580. Okay, 579. 580 to 669 is considered, that's our fair range. Good is 670 to 739. Very good is anything over 740. If you have anything 800, well,
you're exceptional.
You're a god. Yeah. And so like when folks are like, what kind of credit score do I need? Those are some just basics. Now, the big impact where credit score is going to mean money to your clients is in their interest rates. Because even though when we show interest rates, those interest rates are if you've got good credit. But if you have fair credit, we might be able to get you in a home.
But it's going to cost.
It's going to cost you. Exactly.
So your interest rate will be slightly higher than the average that has good or very good or even excellent credit, because that excellent credit lender know that you're not at risk.
Yeah.
And so therefore they know whatever they loan out, they'll get it back.
Yeah. So one thing that we're providing in our offices, and if you guys want us to email that to you. So one thing that we wanted to kind of answer with was a seller concession cheat sheet for realtors on, what kind of down payment. Yeah.
I'll share this one just so they can see. Okay.
Sure.
All right, cool.
So, but we're going to share this on, or we're going to put this on like our real estate backstory website. We're going to have this printed out in the offices for agents to be able to use and things like that, because we want you to be able to have candid, open discussions. And we understand that there's a little bit of a disconnect between, we want to be able to help you with your mortgage and general mortgage advice, but we're not a lender. And so we have to make sure that we're staying in our lanes. That being said, more people come to us
For recommendation.
for mortgage advice
Right.
than anybody else. They come to us more often than they come to a lender. So we have to have some decent basic knowledge to be able to properly guide and advise our clients.
And also a good lender that is willing to answer your client's question once you pass the initial consultation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, a recent study by NerdWallet came out. What is the best long-term investment? It's number one.
Real estate, always.
Always, and it continues to be.
Thing, gold is second, because I remember growing up, my dad always say buy gold, buy gold, buy gold. I'm like, it's just a thing that you wear, but gold does sustain you.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of gold, but
That's okay.
Now real estate on the other hand, totally down.
Well, I believe in real estate, and that's why I'm in the business.
Yeah, but now, however, homeownership continues to remain the number one feature of the American dream. You say, like what constitutes the American dream? Owning a home. Owning a home is, and so even though we see where there's a lot of folks renting and we see rental rates dropping, understand that is still the biggest piece of having the American dream is owning your own home. People want to own homes. At the same time, the number one way to build wealth across any income is through home ownership. Because if you look at what the average net worth for a renter versus an owner's net worth, based on their income levels. Now, overall, it's somewhere around $8,000. The average net worth for the average renter's net worth is somewhere around $8,000, somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000, which is pretty dismal. On the other hand, the average net worth for a homeowner is somewhere around $250,000, $250,000 to $300,000 in that general range. But when you look at how it breaks out on the different income levels, you can see that $180,000 swing, $200,000 swing, $300,000 swing. I mean, these are massive numbers. And so this is not one of those things where the rich people do this to build wealth, or the entry level people. No, this is where everybody in America.
Every day, folks. And once you move beyond the basic level, you can move over to the next level. So this is how you build wealth in America.
Now, the good news is with all that going on, guess what's happening with our traffic right now? Like we know the interest rates are a challenge for us, but our traffic is still above pre-pandemic levels. This is from showing time, and this is just showing their index of the rate of showings so far this year versus 2022. We're beating, even last year we're beating, which was kind of those unicorn years, but you can see where we are compared to 2019, 2020.
So we do have the traffic. Just make sure when you list a property, you're being reasonable with client. And I have honestly lost a client because I was very informative, but the client expected more. And my thing to him is that I can do it, but at the end of the day, we're going to be in the market for a very long time, and don't be disappointed when I come back to you, ask for a reduction.
So back to traffic, we can see where seasonality is moving back into our marketplace right now. And so, yes, we aren't where we were for the last 2 years, but we are up over where we've been any other year, kind of thing. So we're still in really, really good shape. And, that being said, we just don't have enough listings.
It's down 17% year over year.
That's total listings. We're sitting at about 47% of where our inventory was in 2019 right now. And that's staggering because we've got a lot more people since 2019, but we have almost half as many houses for sale.
And you're millennials are looking, but it has to be the perfect storm for them to buy.
Yeah. And then at the same time, our new listings are in really dismal shape. We're down 22% on new listings of homes. So we need more inventory there.
And this might be a time, like Alan said last week, is that you may want to approach the folks that are doing Airbnb or vacation home rentals. That is an opportunity over there.
Yeah. Pending sales continue to run about 15% down, but we are about to start reaching a tipping point with that one. Now, one interesting thing is that the average home sold for 100% of list price. That's just across the board. This has been steadily increasing this year because we did, all last year we were under 100%, and now we're back to where we're at 100% of list price is kind of where. And so for those folks who are like, well, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash. That ain't happening, folks. It's not going to happen. And so for those of us in the business, like the business is here, we just got to get out there and grab it. And so overall, we're continuing to see prices increase. Overall, nationwide, the median sale price was up 2.5%. And so here in Georgia, it's closer to 4.5% where we are. And this is kind of where, and this is from FHA basically. And they listed out, this is the monthly house price index from January 1991 to present. And you can see what like through recessions, through this, through that, doesn't really matter. But for the last 30 years, what's happened to home prices? Well, if you want, and I've quoted this number before, but the average property value appreciation since 1991, 4.4%. It's the same number for the last 50 years. Properties appreciate at 4.5%. Now, if you just go since 2000, it's 4.7. And if you just go since 2012, the last 10, 11 years, property values have appreciated 7.5%.
That's incredible.
So you can see why people are like, real estate is the number one long-term investment strategy out there. Now, there's also a new study out that said the 50 largest cities ranked by spacious living potential. And guess where Atlanta comes in? Number two. And like we do have a lot of nice sized homes here compared to a lot of other areas. We may feel like homes are getting smaller, but homes are getting smaller everywhere. And it's mainly due to price. But, still the average home size here is about almost 2,000 square foot. That's our average. And that is much different from a lot of the places in the United States.
Which is a much smaller space.
And we continue to see more people moving here than more people move to Georgia than from Georgia. So that's a great place for us
A
to
lot of
be.
people move out Georgia is because the job opportunity, most of them are, because Atlanta's a great place to live.
So now we're going to talk about the builders for a second, but there's something really interesting that just came out, because for the first time, the average new construction home is now less than the average resale property. And this is a pretty drastic and significant issue that's happened, largely because the builders have realized, look, we can't keep building just high-end homes, or at the, in our area,
the buyer can't afford. I mean, you're just, that's one reason the market crashed for a different reason back in 07, 08. But now, they're looking at what happened in the past and want to make sure that there's nothing that will stop them from their inventory to move forward.
Yeah. So, but it's just, we can see what the trend has been. Our builders are building a lot more townhomes, a lot more value, entry level products and that kind of stuff. They're responding to market dynamics because they know that the millennials are the ones who is our biggest buyer market, and they have to produce a product out there. And so it's just interesting to see that actually equate into real life here. And so at the same time, a larger percentage of buyers are looking for new construction at the same time. And so like part of that is just due to basic inventory. We don't have enough homes, and therefore more people are considering it, and the builders are starting to build more. We got to make sure we get outside of our head when it comes to townhomes and that kind of stuff, because more of our buyers are very much interested.
Well, part of it, I think it became when we had a hype of the market, there were a lot of sellers doing so as is, no repair. Some of the buyers actually getting bidden because of the fact they didn't do their due diligence during inspection period to make sure the house is right. So
the average right now, the median sale price for the entry level home in Atlanta is $260,000. It's still tight to find that property, but for that you need about $70,000 a year in average income. And so that for the Atlanta area, that's a pretty strong place compared to a lot of places in the United States.
All right.
At the same time, all cash buyers are accounting for 40% of starter homes in the US. So for those folks who are buying, there is still heavy competition for that, because we are, even though a lot of these are classified as starter homes, we have a lot of boomers that are downsizing at the same time into those products. So overall, new residential sales, new construction is actually dipped down, but not because of demand, but because they start building houses 6 months earlier. And so a lot of times the sales numbers are not necessarily reflective of actually the demand going on at the same time. So where are people moving to and from? There's more people moving into disaster areas than moving out of them, which is kind of interesting. And so like when you go flood, fire, and heat, well, I mean, you can see that for the folks who are in flood risk, especially the coastal areas, there's more people moving to Florida, especially, and even the Texas coast, Gulf Coast, that kind of stuff. And any of the coast, more people are moving there than away, or moving to there than from there. And so we continue to see more people there. At the same time, fire. We don't have a lot of fire risk in Georgia, at least we haven't, thankfully. But out west, there's a lot more of that. Now here in Georgia, how about high heat? Shit. We definitely got the heat. Okay, there's no problem. We're close to heat, it sparks. So, but there's more people moving to Georgia. We continue to have that, and so they kind of list us there. One question that we get asked quite a bit is, when is the market going to crash? What's happening? And then sometimes you get news that comes out, and so this one said foreclosure activity is up
185% from 2 years ago.
Yeah. And so these 10 states are showing the most. Now, first of all, Georgia's not on that list. And then when you look at the last 3 years, you're like, wow, okay, foreclosures are up. That's pretty strong. Let's
but you guys gotta remember, during height of the market, there was a moratorium on foreclosure. So you wouldn't have that at all.
Well, and it's not a true story. Like here's where we're at. Right. So yeah.
Compare that to 2008, 2009, 2010, we're at a very minimal.
I mean, and on top of that, The average days to complete foreclosures have skyrocketed, shot up, that kind of stuff.
And that's partially due to moratorium as well.
Well, but yeah, but this is this year's though, and you know, more banks are trying to keep people in their homes than ever before. No one wants to foreclose. And at the same time, only 2.8% of mortgage homes in the US were considered seriously underwater, the lowest point since 2019, before the pandemic. And by the way, that percent is down 3%. So there is no foreclosure crisis coming. There's nothing happening with
Yeah,
that.
not the crisis, but are there foreclosure? Absolutely.
Always going to be
I mean,
some.
in the state of Georgia, last time we checked, we have maybe 8.
No, there was 5 HUD homes last time I pulled it up.
So, you know, you're competing 5 HUD home
For the
with
entire state.
So,
Which is good for our market, right? Less people are losing their homes. We've been there through the 2006, 7, 8 crash when so many of our friends lost houses during that time. We don't want to go there again. So I'm happy about that. Now, at the same time, our rents are continuing to decline. And so whether it's a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, all rents are across
thank
the
goodness,
and
because
especially here.
obviously
Yeah.
it needed to, because it just didn't make sense, and rent follow that property value.
Well, but this is really driven by supply versus demand, especially with multifamily and apartments. We've been in the US, especially in the South, we've been building so many apartments that we've kind of reached a tipping point where you can find really good rental rates right now.
Absolutely.
But remember, people still want to own a home. So being able to get lower rent, it's not that they want to stay a renter. I don't know anyone wants to stay renters. I really don't. But that's the #1 source where people save their money. Now, remember, every week we have our weekly accountability meetings here in all of our offices at 9 a.m. So please, and you know, we got daily calling and you know, going back to the basics. That's it. Also coming up next month, which is really starting
tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, this doesn't start tomorrow.
3 weeks, less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, we have the Tom Ferry Summit. That's going to be live in all of our offices. It's really a fantastic experience. All 3 days are different. It's not the same thing for 3 days. There's a massive amount of content. You can really get a ton of value out of this. Plus, you get 6 hours of CD credit every single day that you come. Plus, you get breakfast and lunch. It's just like the hits just keep on coming. So we hope that you'll make some time and go ahead and block that out.
This is kind of like what Alan said earlier, back to school. It's time for us to get reorganized and rejuvenate, so to speak, in our business by associating with the expert of the field to know exactly where you want to be. So Tom Ferry will be a great product for you to start with, and then get your business plan for next year.
Yep. Plus, if you wanted to go to it, it's like $800. Plus, you got to fly or drive, and then you got to get a hotel and food. Last time we went, it cost us like $8,000 just for the 2 of us to go.
Wow.
And so we didn't go cheap, but, you know, still, you know, like it's expensive. And if you come to ours, we do the exact same experience, and we don't charge anything. So,
well, this is our community service.
All right, now this week,
yes.
we have our relaunch series starting here in our Fayetteville office. This is our 25-hour post license. It's free that we do, and we do it once a quarter. And so at the same time, we have today's lead generation in today's market, and that's going to be in our Fayetteville office as well as on virtual. Wednesday is technology and marketing secrets, and that's going to be virtual as well as in person here at the Fayetteville office. And then on Friday, we have business planning. And
just to delineate the difference, okay? Relaunch, if you get a post license hour, you have to be in person. There's no virtual, okay?
Right.
So virtual is for regular CE hours, which we teach beginning of relaunch, and then supplement it with in-class that is off air.
So we hope you guys have a great week. If we can be of any kind of service, call, text, smoke signals. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks. Have a great day.